This video is a quick guide to using the LZX Escher Sketch touch panel controller module. First, let's start with installation. Right now I have my case powered off, and you can see I've connected the power ribbon to my Eurorack power supply, and the sync cable is chained from my memory palace module to one of the sync input outputs here on the rear. Since this is the last module in the chain, I've set the switch down here to terminate. If you were passing the signal through to another module for sync purposes, you would set this to loop through. If you bought this module to use in audio systems, you don't need to worry about sync at all. Just leave it unplugged and make sure you set the switch up here to the 5-volt setting so that your outputs will be in the right scale to control Eurorack audio modules. Other things to note on the rear of the module: this switch here selects the pinout for the TRS MIDI connector output so that it can be compatible with any other devices that accept TRS MIDI input. And then here we have the USB jack. When you're ready to upload firmware, you would disconnect the power ribbon and connect the USB jack to your PC on a powered USB port all by itself. And you can follow the instructions on the website about how to upload the firmware. So with this set all up, we will put it in the case and power back on. You should see the startup animation and can begin touching the touch panel as shown. Escher Sketch is deceptively simple. It mainly comes down to the X and Y output voltages here, corresponding to the X and Y positions on the touch panel. The coordinates of the outputs correspond to the video raster. So 0, 0 is here in the upper left corner, and maximum values are here in the bottom right corner. You'll notice that the touch panel region does not go all the way to the edges. There's a little bit of an area there to allow you to see the LED outside of the touch region. You can use Escher Sketch with the included stylus or with an alternate stylus. I like this one with the spring-loaded tip, or with your finger. The sensitivity of the touchscreen and the pressure outputs is going to be adjustable here with the sensitivity knob. Good way to test this is to take your desired pointing instrument and apply a little pressure. The pressure range is very small, so you're going to want to play with this to get a feel for it. But I'm going to adjust the sensitivity range to where I can see the bar getting wider as I touch gently to more firmly. And that looks pretty good. Next thing to note is that you have a smoothing control here, and it works great with a little bit of smoothing on. The smoothing is going to apply a two-dimensional slew based on distance. Now, if you want to draw something really fast, you're going to want to turn that down. Whereas if you're drawing something more of like a slow-moving path, it really helps to turn it up. In addition to the X and Y outputs, you also have pressure and velocity CV outputs. Pressure is going to be related to how hard you're touching, and you can see the bar gets wider to visualize that. And the velocity output corresponds to how fast your pen is moving. So if you were to, like, say, do a fast movement from one corner to the other, there would be a spike in the output of the velocity voltage. You also have gate 1 and gate 2 outputs that are triggered by the manual buttons down here. Gate 1, gate 2. You can think of these as like left and right mouse buttons in terms of how they're meant to be used. When the touch pressure is greater than the gate threshold value set by this knob, gate 2 will become active. So you can use the gate 2 as a pressure activated gate. The constrain button can be used to lock your movements to one axis of the display only. For example, if we're moving up and down, but we don't want the X voltage to change. As we're moving up and down, we can hold the constrain button, and you can see now that the X axis is locked. Finally, we'll quickly go over the recording feature. If I hold down the record button while making movements, let's try a diagonal line, straight line, and then some wigglies all the way up. And then release record. Now if I hit play, that drawing is going to play itself back, and I can control the playback speed here. We can hit play and then loop if we want the animation to loop over and over again. It's the raw touch data that's recorded, so the smoothing is applied live. So you can adjust the smoothing while it's playing back, like you can the playback speed. While you're playing back and looping, you can also punch into the original recording. For example, like that. Now as it loops back around, we'll have overdubbed a new drawing inside the overall timeline of the loop. The trigger input can be used to restart the playback of the recording or the loop that's currently playing back.